Hey there guys, it's Ligerzero459 and welcome to my brand new Explain It Like I'm 5 Kerbal Space Program series. In this series I'm going to be going over some common topics that take place in the Kerbal Space Program universe that are a little bit complicated at times, and going to be bringing them down to the absolute basic level that they can be brought down to. So it's going to start off with a 3-episode series on Orbital Rendezvous, with the first episode being about balancing your RCS. Let's go ahead and head over to the VAB, shall we? Okay, here in the vehicle assembly building, I have built for you just a little lander. This is something you might send out, early game to the MUD. Maybe send this out on top of some kind of command module, go out to Minmus or something like that. It's pretty small, 1 Kerbal. But, if you send it down and you're undocking, you're going to have to dock it back, right? The thing that makes docking easy is not just learning how to actually rendezvous with stuff in orbit, it's actually being able to control the ship that you're going to be docking with your RCS and not have it spin wildly around. The way that you do that is you have to balance it based on your center of mass. So you have 2 options. One option, the option I chose for this ship considering it's so small, is to put your one RCS thruster directly on top of the center of the mass. Now granted, this particular one is slightly off due to the fact that these tanks right here are going to be dry later on, and once they're dry the center of mass will shift upwards some, but in the meantime it's just enough off that while it's completely full you can still control it without it wobbling around everywhere, which I'll give a demonstration of that shortly. Let's go ahead and load up a different ship for you, and you can see the same principle except with 2 sets of RCS thrusters. So the previous example was what's known as a 1.25 meter lander, because all the parts were 1.25 meters, none of them were bigger than that. This is what's known as a 2.5 meter. You can see it's using the bigger Poodle engine, it's using the bigger Rocco Max X200 series of fuel tanks, and the MK2 lander can. Now, the thing with this is that I could still do the exact same thing, balance this on the center of mass, if it decides to pop up, there we go. Balance it on the center of mass right here. But that's not going to give me a lot of thrust. So instead what I've chosen to do is balance it here and here along the center of mass. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, it's a little bit tough to eyeball it, and yes, it is. You're going to get it wrong, more than likely. I've been building mine wrong for years at this point. But there are different things that you can use to help you out with that. There's a mod out there called Rcs Build Aid that gives you some really cool different things that kind of show your center of mass based on what's going on the ship. So it actually looks like this one is slightly unbalanced now. That's because it's looking at, the translation. So it looks like I probably need to move it down just a little bit and tweak these to balance it out. So let's see, let's move that. Nope, let's move it there, right there. And you see the way it works is if there's any red, it means it's unbalanced in that direction. So this means if I try to push down, it's going to rotate forward and it's going to push me slightly off to, it looks like, the left. Whereas if I pull it down until it has no red, as close as I can, let's zoom in a little bit, make it a little bit better, boom, right there. And that means that there will be no random translation when I attempt to go down. Instead, the ship will go straight down. Here it'll go straight forward, straight back, straight left, right, up, down. So it's really great when you're trying to dock, when your ship isn't trying to rotate on you, when you're trying to line up docking ports. Now I have one more ship to show you. In this one, I'm going to show you how to do your RCS from scratch. That way, when you go to build your own ship, you'll have an idea on exactly where to place the RCS ports from the beginning. Okay, so here I have a 1.25 meter launcher. This is just basically a command pod type vessel. You could put a lander on top, strut it to it, like that Mark 1 lander that I had. And this is actually going to be the one that I use in episode 2 and in episode 3 to show off actually orbiting and rendezvous in orbit. So you can see I don't have any RCS thrusters here, which would kind of be a problem for rendezvous because it's really hard to line up without them. Trust me, I've done it before, it's not fun. Now I can use the build aid, the only problem is I have this launcher attached. So first things first, let's go ahead and find the stack decoupler. Just move that off to the side. Now you can see the center of mass marker from the build aid is directly in the center of the command pod. Now I can adjust this for the fact that, you know, eventually the oxidizer and the liquid are going to be gone. Let's turn that off. This is the average center of mass between the point where it is full and it is empty. So you can see, let's drop the sizes real quick. You have your full, you have your empty, and that's just kind of the middle point right there. Usually I build off the middle point because you're never going to have a full tank of gas when you're trying to translate, so it's better to go off the average. So I'll just uncheck those two boxes underneath markers, leaving only the average center of mass, pop the size back up, and I'm going to go over here to command and control, go over here and grab just my normal RCS thruster block, and I'm going to use 4 of them. 4 is the best. You can use more. You don't really want to use less, because any less than that you're not going to be able to translate in all directions. So I'm just going to throw the top one on first because that's kind of my upper limit. I can't really go onto the stack decoupler. I can, but it'll kind of throw those off. And you know what, just for the heck of it, I'm going to go ahead and put that there. So now I'm going to grab another one and go to the bottom and just kind of move until the red is gone. Let's rotate around it real quick. No red. That's pretty good. And then here you can see the direction. So right now it's looking, if I'm trying to go right, it's saying I'm going to push perfectly right, no rotation. Same if I go left, same if I go up, down, forward, or backwards. Now you can do this manually. So let's turn off the RCS Build Aid and just turn on my center of mass. So there's my center of mass right there. I'm going to go ahead and put this thruster block here. And I'm going to put a second thruster block. See, that's dead center. That's about halfway. We'll go with there. And so that's probably not perfectly balanced. Let's take a look, see. Actually, surprisingly, that is balanced. Well, I managed to eyeball it and get it perfect. Let's see, that's my back. Nope, there's my right. There's my left, up, down. So the forward and back are good, but the rest of them are a little bit off. Looks like I probably need to pull this up some because I'm looking at the average center of mass, not the... There we go. That's full weight. Okay, so with full weight, I was actually closer. It's closer to about that. So now, like I said, by balancing your RCS, that means that you'll be able to translate better up, down, left, right without your ship rotating on you. So right now it's unbalanced, so when I try and go right, it's going to push me, it's going to push my nose to the right, which means I'm going to pull away from the docking port if I'm directly aimed on it. You don't want that to happen. Well, that's it for this episode, guys. If you need any more help balancing RCS thrusters, leave a comment below, and I'll be back next episode with a basic technique on rendezvousing in orbit. Hope to see you again next time. Till then, game on.